This lesson covers the types of IPv6 address and manual configuration. Now I should be very clear, it's very unlikely you'll ever do manual configuration for IPv6 on a large scale. There may be specific servers such as the DNS or DHCP server where you would configure a static IPv6 address. But any other server, you're going to want to use DHCP, simply because of the complexity of trying to maintain IPv6 addresses. Now if you did want to manually configure, I can do it from the adapter configuration, the Internet v6, and then type in your IP address. To use the following address, the subnet prefix, remember this would be the /60 or 80, the gateway, and then the DNS servers. I can also configure this using NetSH, for example, and PowerShell. I can configure DHCP. So within DHCP, we do have the IPv6. I can actually go and create an IPv6 scope in here. I can give it a name, I can give it the prefix I wish to use, and then actually select the addresses I'm going to create. So example, I could say FEC0, AAAA, and then the rest could just be zeros. And then the address ranges I wish to use. Now there are three types of IPv6 address. The first is the global unicast address. Now these addresses are like the public IPv4 addresses that are routable across the entire IPv6 internet. And these are allocated by the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority and are formatted such as the first 3 bits are always set to 001. Then the next 45 bits identify the global routing prefix, which is specific for an organization and is actually given by the INAA. Then you have 16 bits make up the subnet within that organization, and then 64 bits for the actual interface for the computer within that subnet. So as you can see, this gives you a huge scope of IP addresses for every organization, and really no chance you're going to run out of those. Now within an organization, you have link local addresses, and these are both stateless and stateful. Stateless is that auto-generated IP address that you saw in my environment. This starts with FE80, and you can see because it starts with FE80, it's stateless. It was automatically calculated, and it would be able to find other gateways on that local subnet and communicate with other hosts. But it's not routable on the internet. Nor is a stateful link local address. Again, these are equivalent to those automatic private IP addresses that I'm going to use only within an organization. I can also have a stateful link local address, which is an address allocated by a DHCP server and actually giving me additional configurations. I also have site local addresses. So a site local address begins with FEC0, and that's like those 10. And those 172.16 and 192.168 addresses that are reserved for use purely within an organization. If you are adopting IPv6 in your organization, you're going to need to look at the complexity of your network, how you wish to use IPv6, and which address is going to make the most sense for you. However, most likely that link local addressing will work fine within a single subnet and a basic network. However, you are going to want to look at setting up DHCP servers to actually give out IPv6. You can actually give out additional configurations such as IPv6 DNS servers, gateways, and other configuration. And also make sure your DNS is actually set up to support IPv6, which it is by default in Windows Server 2012.